Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the competition. We are back in Salt Lake City once again. As if 2 consecutive World Cups were not enough, we are back for a third time, but now it is for the first event of the North American Cup Series. North American Cup Series is a 5-part event, the first of which is taking place here in Salt Lake City at USA Climbing's National Training Center. Ultimately, this series will cover all the disciplines of climbing, lead, speed, and bouldering. But today, it's all about the bouldering, as the nation's very best are competing here today, hoping to get that $5,000 cash purse and, of course, a chance at the gold medal. My name is Al Smith. I'm going to be your commentator through the rest of this program. We thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoy the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Al Smith, once again. We are now at our station. The competition is going to get started soon. Our first climber is in the chair. I've actually got one of our setting team members back here with me, Cody Grotsky. How you doing, Cody? I'm doing great. Excited to be here, excited to see what these competitors can do, especially following all the action of the World Cup here in Salt Lake. Many of these competitors are at an exceptionally high level still, but maybe weren't present at the World Cup, and I'm sure they're excited to get a piece of the action, so to speak, and we're excited to see it.
Cup Series, some big names that I'm sure you've all heard of before, and that we'll see on the Olympic stage. But yeah, like you said, some folks too, maybe who didn't qualify, but who are still going to put on a super exciting show for us throughout semis and then finals later on this evening.
Yeah, we are. You took me through a lot of the boulders. We've seen them. I've seen them at this point. Our guests at home have not, and it looks like, of course, we have the technical things, the slab things, that style that we're all used to seeing, but also a little bit of an old school style where I think, to use your words, that you've got to crush a hold or destroy a hold, and then jump to the next one and repeat, which is, of course, a style that's very exciting to watch. What goes into the setting? How do you make these choices?
Yeah, that's a great question, Al. So, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that we're looking for is to find who the best athlete is. Who's the athlete who's got it all together on comp day. And the way that you do that is you need to set a variety of styles that test the athletes in different ways, right? People will naturally have different strengths and weaknesses that are maybe suited to them or not. And so you want to make sure you kind of present this diverse round to allow the athletes to be the ones to show up and allow themselves to compete and ultimately take home the podium, right? So that's kind of where this starts. It looks like we do have our first climber on the wall here.
You are correct. For the ladies getting started right now, let me get myself oriented.
I believe that is Autumn.
That is correct. Autumn Lloyd getting started. There she goes, getting started. Looks like her first attempt. And for those of you who don't already know, we have changed our rules a little bit here. We've adopted the International Federation of Sport Climbing's rules. And one of the places you can see this is in how we force the start position, where instead of just starting hands, now we do force starting feet as well. I believe this is done to prepare North American competitors to be better equipped to make the transition to Worlds when they go there, so that they feel more comfortable with the rules, that they've been climbing in that style, as far as the starting positions, as far as the zones, and a variety of other small details.
Yeah, exactly, Al. So the idea here and the intention is to prepare the athletes for the world stage. We have adopted the majority of these rules on our youth circuit, as well as, of course, our adult circuit. You can see these maybe little changes if you've been following along for the past 3 years. They've been kind of coming on a little bit slowly in the beginning to kind of get people adjusted, and then this year, of course, we've adopted a lot more. If those of you remember National Cup Series in the past, we traditionally had a 3-zone scoring system, and then, of course, including the top. Here we have 1 zone, which is exactly in line with the IFSC, and the zone there you can see is that small red crimp kind of in the center of the wall there. So we'll see if Autumn can make it here on her next attempt.
Yeah, there's a zone close up, and a quick note on the zone, and this is something I only learned recently, is that it is not enough simply to touch it, or even to touch it for several seconds. My understanding is that you have to use it for something. You have to essentially put weight onto it. You can't just put the edge of your finger on it, hold it there for 5 seconds, and get the zone. And is that correct?
Yeah. So you need to use the usable surface of it and make use of it in some meaningful way. You can't just slap it. You can't just maybe touch your fingertip to the back side of it. You need to actually show control of it.
And so, as opposed to the top, all you have to do for a top is, if you are in a stable position, you touch the top with 1 finger on each hand, and you hold it there for 5 seconds. You're not necessarily using the top, but you are showing control of it, and that would be enough to get you the top. Whereas the zone, you actually have to not just touch it for 5 seconds, but use it to take your body weight or otherwise move somewhere. So that there seems like there is a small difference in how those rules apply when it comes to the top versus the zone.
Yeah, I think in the easiest way to describe it for the folks at home who aren't as familiar is just showing control of the positioning awards you those points. And the kind of interesting thing that you might see is that you might have climbers who get really close to the zone or really close to the top, but ultimately you're only rewarded for achieving those positions, those tops and those zones. So it can be a little bit frustrating sometimes when you're getting so close to one or the other, and maybe we're not quite getting there.
Yeah, it does seem like one of the difficult transitions, moving away from a 3-point boulder or 3-point scoring to a single zone, is that previously it would mean a lot if you could even get that first point. What we used to do is a 5, a 10, and a 25. Is that right? Is how our old scoring was?
5, 10, 15.
5, 10, 15, and
Yep.
25. And where now it's either, there is no 5. It's either zone or no zone, and then, of course, the top. So it's not as an incremental or granular scoring system. The zone matters much more. It can absolutely decide a competition.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that happen here today.
Autumn Lloyd just finishing up now. Next out is Nakaya Sanders. We'll see what she can do. Cody, since we have you here and since you are one of the setting team members, can you tell us a little bit about, well, this boulder? I'll ask you about the boulders in general, but can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here? It looks quite difficult to get started as you approach that zone.
Yeah, for sure. So, so you mentioned before RDV 4-point starting position. So that's dictating where the athletes pretty much can start. You do have a single left-handed grip on that cheetah ball volume there on the left side. The right side itself is just a volume, and you're having these smear feet kind of in like this pressing position. So as soon as you start moving forward and upward rather, you're going to lose those feet because they're skating off the side because the volumes are kind of turned at that angle.
It looks like we're changing directions here a little bit. We've got Solomon Barth over here on men's one getting started. We'll see what he can do. I'm sure this boulder is just as precarious and difficult as the others. Solomon off to a good start. Finds his way to the zone. I've seen Solomon perform before in the collegiate series. He's an extremely capable and strong climber. Not completely surprised at what we're seeing right now, although you did tell me that this finish is quite tricky.
Yeah, that was a nice work there by Sol. He's flashed to the zone, which is another scoring marker that if there was a tie, this would be like a tiebreaker if you're having flash to zones, flash to tops. So that's a pretty big deal to come out on the first boulder and do that. Of course, he still has a little over 3 minutes left, but transitioning here over this volume, you can see that the usable surface of the volume is kind of pointing directly left or directly right. And where he is currently, the best usable surface is on the left-hand side. But now as he's pressing over and utilizing that right side, he's going to have to push his hips all the way over to find that proper body position because there are no holds on that top volume. So he's got to find either a perch. What we saw, he's falling off there. What we saw in forerunning was that a lot of times the toe hook or a high drop knee seemed to be pretty successful.
Well, we will see what he can do on his next attempt. For now, Nakaya Sanders back in the action on boulder number 1. Looks like she was looking for some verification from our judges on whether they gave her control of that zone, which I would have to assume that at this point she does have that.
Yep, and this body position here is it's kind of deceiving. I don't know if you folks at home can maybe see or if you're familiar with these walls or maybe photos of following along with the training center, but you do have a pretty substantial angle change going from that lower kind of geometric foot, and then it changes to a much more slabby position right above that angle break. And so what that's doing is it's kind of keeping your hips farther away from the wall, naturally pulling you back, and you have to find that appropriate body position, probably with a left push foot and a right toe hook, and creeping along, shuffling your hips, finding that body position, that tipping point, shuffling over that right foot, and then committing to that paddle.
Well, hopefully Nakaya finds a way through. For now, we're back to Solomon, squaring up for what appears to be attempt number 2. See if he finds the zone again. Not quite.
And if you saw there, kind of what was the determining factor in him not succeeding in the zone that time was his foot just seemed to pick off of that small white hold that he's brushing right now. It is very directional, so once your body gets over that foot, your center of gravity gets over that foot, you lose it. It's gone. And if you don't press all the way, you'll see what happened there to Saul. That's what you're gonna see.
Nakaya Sanders back in it again. 1 minute on the clock. Another thing we'll talk about in a few minutes is the nature of the clock here. Oh, Solomon back in the action again, looking to capitalize on these remaining seconds on the clock. Solomon looking nice and steady, trying to take his time, given how the position he's in right now seems fairly stable, but he's got to compose himself before he decides to move forward, because this might be the last chance he has. Now, Cody was telling us what the way that the setters envision this is you can either, well, this, I haven't heard anything about this one. This is quite out of the box. In the top of the wall, I would have to assume it's off. That's
certainly, yeah. Any of the terminating parts of the wall are off, so they don't have to be marked by any sort of tape. You do see on the right hand there a string of black tape, and that's just to make sure that the climbers on either side of those boulders don't use volumes on differing boulder problems.
Yeah, of course. It's interesting here, the way. Obviously, these competitors are so strong. It's not out of the question for competitors at this level to onside 514 outside, flash V12 or anything like that. And in this context, Now, I believe this is wrong, and this is not Solomon Barth. That is Palmer Larsen.
Correct.
For clarity, getting ready to go. But as I was saying, there we go. Palmer Larsen, bib number 41. Palmer Larsen was actually at World Cups 2 weeks ago. Did quite well. Excited to see what he can do right now. But to my previous point, these climbers are extremely capable, but you're on a 5-minute clock. These boulders are incredibly tricky, so it's not a question of can you do it? Of course they can do it, but can you figure out the exact right way to do it within 5 minutes, under the gun? Because they're not straightforward. It's like if you had the time to figure out how, then sure, but you get maybe 2-3 attempts, and that's it. So it's a different ballgame.
Right, there's an entire competition psychology that goes into this, right? I mean, you have the time factor. Then you also have just like the atmosphere, right? I mean, you're here in a venue, you have lights, you have cameras, you have all these other athletes who have climbed both before you, but also who are coming down the pipeline. You don't know what score they got. I mean, you can kind of maybe infer by what you're hearing of people cheering there and there. But it's not straightforward, especially as you get kind of towards the middle of the field and you have 4 athletes on the wall. It's kind of hard to know who's topped what when. So you need to just go out there and really show out to maybe move on to the next round, or if you're in finals, of course, to snag that podium spot. It looks like Palmer might be going a little slow to that first paddle hold. Probably has to spring a little bit more. Get a little bit more motion moving in to snag that zone and then hit that stomp foot.
Yeah, we'll see. I certainly have faith in him. He seems to be pretty well versed in lots of different styles. He's got enough time in the clock. We'll see what he can do. Right now, we've got Autumn Lloyd getting started in boulder number 2. So right now, we do have men and women climbing at the same time. All 4 boulders will eventually be full, so the camera will be jumping around a lot. We will try to stay in tune with exactly where we're at and where the camera is, but we'll see. Well, hopefully we don't miss any action, but you never know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get some fun instant replays. Right now, Palmer Larsen, 2 minutes on the clock, looking for that zone, loading up.
Oh, nice. There we go. Very strong by Palmer.
All right, solid control of the zone. And you did say earlier that this was designed to do sort of a paddle to gain that zone, but that you wouldn't have been surprised if you could control that second hold without doing the 1, 2, 3 to the zone, which we just saw Palmer do. And now Palmer demonstrating the foot that you were explaining to me earlier. This is, loses that right foot. Can you tell us how bad these volumes are? They look, for the people at home, and that's been me a lot, they look better than they are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they take up a lot of surface area, right? So you're looking at them on screen, and you're like, oh, okay, those things look pretty big, pretty substantial. And I mean, if you're looking at the roof there on men's 2, you're seeing some huge black cone volumes. Yeah, those are obviously really good. They have plenty of usable surface area on. They're changing the dimension of the wall great. But if you're looking at some, like, especially like some of the blue triangles, right? Those they have like varying angle changes throughout each volume itself, and depending on how they're turned, you kind of have, again, like varying degrees of difficulty. And so they're surprisingly bad, and they're never really in the position that you are comfortable in, right? And that's kind of okay. I mean, we want to test the climber. We want to see what they're capable of, finding those tricky body positions. That is a huge aspect of the sport.
Here we've got Maddie Morris back in again on women's 1, navigating those tricky volumes. About 25 seconds left on the clock. Maybe her last attempt. Hopefully she can gain this top for the first time in the morning.
Some smart beta there by Maddie.
I can tell you it's in my nature to want to cheer her on. Normally I'm on the other side of the coin here as an MC in the in-house crowd. Unfortunately, she can't hear me. If she could, I could help her. Maybe. We could be no help from here. That's all right. Small adjustment. Next up is going to be Isabel Gifford. Cody, back to your previous point, there's been so many times when, let's say I see a boulder on the television, on the internet, or even if I'm seeing it in person, and I think, Could I do that? I've been climbing over 10 years, fairly capable, obviously not at this highly competitive level or anywhere close, but sometimes I think, and I'm sure many other people think, could I do these boulders? Could I pull onto these boulders? Could I stick that dyno? Could I do this move? Oh, this one looks like my style. I think I could do it. And I can say that from getting to go up to them up close, and you touch the holds, and every single time, they are much, much worse than I expect them to be. And that's not something, even as a seasoned climber, that's not something that necessarily translates to how bad is that foot that he's on? What is the angle of this volume he's holding? None of these things you can really tell, but I'm here to tell you, they are always harder than they seem, and these competitors are truly incredible. Joe Goodacre is another seasoned competitor on the Bouldering Nationals. And you can see right there, it spits him off. So for someone that's never been to Nationals, say you were to try to pull onto it, I'm certain that I couldn't stand on the feet, couldn't hold the holds, and basically couldn't move anywhere. Nakia Sanders looking good. Looks like she's got one hand on the top, looks for the match.
Great body position there. Yeah, that's a good point, Al. I mean, think about it this way. If you're curious, like, oh, could I do that? I mean, sure you could, right? I mean, these athletes all started somewhere. They all started at their local climbing gym. They all started on their local climbing team or their climbing club.
You have too much faith in me, Cody.
No, man, like university or wherever it is. I mean, everyone starts somewhere, and you practice and you progress, and you try and you fail, and you try and you fail, and then you just learn from that, right? And these athletes are no different. If there is a difference, right, it's that they're okay with accepting the times that there's difficulty in pushing through it, and that's why they're here, right? Also, to your point, these boulders are extremely difficult. They're designed to separate a field of 20 right now down to finals and a field of 6. That's a huge cutoff, right? And it's going to test the best athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I could see it both ways. One, to an extent, they're doable. You practice up, you get there, you could get there. You could say anybody that works hard enough could get there. The other side of the coin is they're straight up difficult.
Yeah, make no mistake. These boulders are very, very hard.
Isabel Gifford here, another seasoned National Cup competitor, back again, teeters off. It seems there's been... We said earlier that there's a few different styles of boulders here, like at many comps, and some of them are quite steep, like the one Solomon is on right now, or the one that Isabel was on is more technical. They do range, but it seems like there's been a transition away from simply how strong is your crimps, how hard can you pull, and much more of a focus on how quickly and efficiently can you navigate a boulder you've never seen before. You're on a 5-minute clock, and your strength won't save you. True, you have to be strong, but the movement is what separates people. Joe Goodacre here finding the movement, gaining the zone. What's he going to do?
We talk about this a lot. Comes up a lot in competitive climbing these days.
There's the toe hook.
Oh, very good by Joe. Great body position with about a minute left. Yeah, we talk a lot. I'll talk to a lot of folks, people who maybe aren't as into competition climbing, or, maybe are just more into outdoor climbing or hanging out at their local gym and training. And, a lot of questions come up, like, why are the climbs the way that they are? Why do you see this type of movement? Like, I don't see this outside. This isn't organic. This isn't what I'm used to. And, there's a couple of reasons why. I mean, one of the biggest ones is that you mentioned it earlier. All of these athletes, they're right there with each other. They're neck and neck. I mean, with this field, you have athletes who have flashed everything from, I guess, V13 or so and below. I mean, flashing a V13 boulder problem, that's an exceptional feat of strength. So if you just give these climbers holds and straightforward body positions, it really comes down to almost like a little bit of luck. Like who's just like having a pretty good day, but they're all gonna just house these power moves. They're all just gonna house these small holds because that's what they train, and they're really good at it. And separating the field in that way, although it's worked in the past, we just find that there's so much more to climbing. There's so much more diversity than maybe initially meets the eye. And I think that should be explored and rewarded.
It really is a testament to the talent of the setting staff like yourself that you're able to separate these climbers in this way, considering that you could probably bet that they could all do one-arm pull-up on a 10 mil edge. So if they can all do that or some equivalent, how else do you separate them? It's the movement, it's the precarious positions, it's the complexity, the risk, and that seems to be the art in what y'all bring to it. Who do we have up here right now? Autumn Lloyd, boulder number 3. On the left side there for the gentleman, it's Gabriel Galen getting started on boulder number 1. There he is. And most of these competitors, if not all of them, are regulars at Bouldering Nationals. So they're just about as good as it gets, in the States at least. Yet still, these devious boulders are enough to slow them down, if not stop them. Here we have Maddie Dennis. Maddie looking fairly confident on her feet there, taking her time. Now we're back to Maddie Morris. And again, Maddie, ooh. That pinch on the right side, I have to assume, we've in a way already said this, but I do have to assume it ain't no jug, as they say.
No. It's got a little bit similar, I guess, to men's one, right, where you're having a bit of a paddle move, but it's certainly worse than the hold on men's one. Part of that's just due to the body position that you're in. For women's one, you don't need as good of a hold to go out and catch that blue crescent jug. It'd be extraordinarily difficult to just control that pinch. It's possible, but I think you're going to probably see climbers who succeed just kind of quickly tacking through it, shooting out that right hand and stomping that right foot on that cheetah ball volume there at the corner of your screen.
I remember now that we discussed this, that pinch is not designed to be controlled to just stick it and crush it. It's meant to be a 1, 2, 3 all the way to the right in person I saw this, and in the moment I lost it. There's a giant blue crescent hold just to the right of this pinch, which is not actually that camouflaged, but that's just my tunnel vision. Yeah, but the design is to go 1, 2, 3, ending up with the right hand in that crescent, which is quite good, and tagging the right foot onto that volume on the right. So let's see if Maddie. See, it looks like if your feet aren't under you in the right way, you can't create enough momentum out that direction, which is what looks like happening to Maddie.
Right, very, very body position dependent, and also a ton of timing involved.
Looks like Brian Squire with under a minute left. Back now to Maddie Morris on boulder 2. Looks like Palmer deep in the cave on the left side.
Yeah, that boulder, men's 2 there, it's very strenuous. Kind of the way that it shakes out is that moving through the body positions is really the difficulty. Once you're established, you're kind of hanging out. Like right now, he's like, you can kind of see it in his face. He's able to think. He's got a little time. He's not comfortable, but he has a little bit of time to figure out his next move. But committing to understanding and properly executing the next move is really where you're getting that difficulty, and you can kind of see that throughout each step of the boulder.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that boulder more. It looks like another round's going to go by. That roof boulder is quite interesting. Like you said, Palmer was in a fairly stable position, but his head was already above an essential hold. Now, maybe you never know what kind of beta climbers are going to use to get through it. But it is interesting how you can be in a position that feels great and feels stable, and you have plenty of time to think, and really you have virtually no chance of sending it that way because you're spun around backwards. You need to be spun 180 degrees the other direction, or perhaps you're like we saw Solomon on boulder number 1. He mantled up on top of the holds and was kind of just hanging out, but at the same time, there's no way to get to the zone or to the top from that spot. Next, we have Quinn Mason. Another competitor from Bouldering Nationals.
Looks like we have Nakaya here on women's 3. This is probably the women's most technical boulder. If you can kind of see there, men's 1, women's 3, and then over to the farther right, men's 3 as well. It's all very slabbed walls. So these 2 boulders in particular is 0 degrees. So you're really having to find the body position before you commit to the movement. Otherwise, unfortunately, like you saw Nakaya there, you get spit right off.
Yeah, of course. Here, Quinn Mason again making her way across the zone. Not sure if she had gained control of that zone, but it seems like that is likely. Looking to find her feet to work her way across. Let's see if we can find our first competitor gaining control of that blue crescent on the right side. There, she's got that toe hook underneath that we talked about earlier. Helps you stabilize on that foot. And even, I would say that this fairly large, blocky foot that looks easier to stand on, like a seasoned climber, yeah, I would be able to stand on. No, negative, not true. And that's something I think I do harp on a little bit because I've thought it so many times. Like, oh, this part looks way too hard, but this other part, I could do that. And then you get there, and they're just consistently harder than they seem, even if the foot is large, even if the features are large, like what we're seeing Joe Goodacre on right now. The feet, for example, on this one, the blue volumes in the back are nearly vertical. None of us are strangers to standing on a volume, but what is the angle? A 5-degree difference is a huge difference, and in many of these cases, and I'm not joking around, these volumes, they're very close to being the same angle as the wall itself. It really shows the skill of these climbers, and not, can we be as strong as World Cup competitors? Likely not. Could we learn to trust our shoe rubber the way that they do? That's something that feels a little bit more feasible, and it is inspiring to see what they do. Tim Kang gains the zone. Speaking of trusting your shoe rubber, we'll see what he can do. Once again, this top volume has no holds on it whatsoever. It's very low profile. It's all about finding the position. Strength, it seems that it won't really do anything for you because there's not really anything to grab.
Yeah, just as a reminder there for folks at home, there is that black piece of tape, making sure that Nakaya doesn't go over and reach on men's 1 and touches that finish hold, and vice versa. They do have their own unique boulder problems.
And to clarify something on rules, if you were to flag outside of that black tape, is that an issue?
As long as you don't touch the wall.
Okay.
You can't touch anything on the other side of that black tape.
Okay.
You could flag in space.
Yeah.
But as soon as your foot or hand or any appendage makes contact, then you will be charged with an attempt.
You get the attempt, you're forced to come down.
Yes.
And that's it. Yeah. Quinn Mason back in the action, looking to stay steady on her feet, generate enough momentum outright to do that 1-2-3 paddle, gain the blue crescent. We're rooting for her. We'll see. Oh.
Very good beta there by Quinn.
Quinn finds another way. So composed, so solid. Now, there's another thing we spoke about earlier. There is a foot that Quinn has not used that you probably can't see at home. It's not quite invisible. Turns out she doesn't need it. Oh, I'm not sure that was control.
Don't think the judges are going to give her that top there. Yeah, very close.
Right in the last second. And that is a heartbreak. I'm sure she's handling it well, but the amount of heartbreak, it's the drama. That's why we come to competitive sports events, is that when there's 1 second on the clock and you're throwing the Hail Mary, it is a long shot. When a climber does it, the crowd goes wild. The climber can't believe it happened, but just as often, or perhaps more often, it doesn't go that way. The clock runs out, your foot slips, and you're out. Here we got Grace Ryan just getting started, boulder number 1. Let's see if she can take one home for us. For the gentleman, Adam Shahar. Adam looks like he's gearing up. He's working his way through. Here we got Maddie Dennis. Looks like that'll be control of the zone. I predict Maddie finds her way through here. I think she's quite flexible and quite good. Let's see if she can gain this with the left hand. Look at me, I'm a fortune teller. I can't call it yet. Yes, Maddie. Make me right. I get partial credit for that one. I can't cheer her on, but I can send the vibes through the Wi-Fi.
Well, I want to comment a little bit on this this move there that Maddie just did. You know, a lot of climbers will think that, you know, being taller is always an advantage, but in a situation like that, especially for the top of the boulder problem, that was a nice top there.
Yeah, Brian Squire styling his way through boulder 4.
Yeah, you can see there on the instant replay the body position that she's in, that Maddie's in. Maddie's, I think she's about 5'2", for those of you folks at home. So she's not a tall rock climber. I think she might actually be the shortest competitor in semifinals. And that's kind of the thing that we try to ensure as a route setting team, is that it's not just your height that's going to determine whether or not you'll succeed or get a zone or get a top. It's your climbing ability. And so we try to make sure that there's, you know, all types of options available, and it's not just the fact that you're able to reach through something. That can be a pretty common misconception, more so for the folks maybe that are a little bit newer to climbing. You know, if you've ever been to the rock climbing gym and you see a 6-foot guy able to just reach a higher handhold, you think, oh man, I wish I was that tall. But sometimes being a little bit shorter, you can do things just a little bit different that may actually be easier for you.
Of course. And it's interesting, and it's another testament to what goes into the setting process. Is you have to set for the tall competitors, the short competitors, and even when you're setting for the short competitors, that doesn't exclude dynos or a jump move. To be able to set it in a way that a dyno could sufficiently challenge your tall competitors and your short competitors is certainly beyond my scope of expertise. And I imagine bad body positions, bad feet, bad holds that you have to latch, or funny angles are all determining factors, aside simply from how far is it.
Correct. Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, if you think about like standing on a ladder, right? If you put your foot on the bottom rung, and then you stand up tall and you reach as high as you can, in that situation, the taller person with a taller reach is going to reach a higher rung.
Wins.
Right? And wins the event.
Gold medal.
You don't want that. So we try to encourage differing body positions to ensure that folks have at least an equitable chance. It's not perfect. It's not a science. You know, we do get things wrong, and you know, but we just try to do our best to ensure as fair of an event for all the competitors to showcase their talents as possible.
Of course. Well, I think overall, y'all do quite a good job, even though it's impossible to know. You're not entirely in the dark, but to some extent, you can have a plan. You can do your best. You can know your competitors. You can know their level. You can know climbing, but do you know in game time, how's it going to go down? Of course not. And that's something that you seem to just take in stride. That's something that that's the way it goes. Right.
And, you know, another aspect of climbing, as we all know, right, we can think of things like number of attempts we've had on something. What did we eat last night? Did we sleep well? Is it cool enough to go send your project? How cold is it outside? Well, right here in Salt Lake, finals time is predicted to be 100 degrees. Yeah. And we're in thankfully we have some big fans going there, and we have big swamp coolers cooling down the venue. But 100 degrees is 100 degrees, no matter if it's dry heat or not. And you know, you add into the complexity of this, the lights as well, and the number of people, although small, in the venue right now, all adds to, you know, the difficulty of the grips on the wall.
Of course. Here we've got Quinn O'Francia, another seasoned competitor. To the right, I believe that is Isabel Gifford. Now, if I understand this running order correctly, we're starting in reverse order of the qualifying position.
Correct.
So as we make our way through, hopefully we're going to see some more tops. Here, that looks like that's Kaitlyn Bone. Still looking for that first top of the day on women's one. Quinn Mason, so close, but I have to assume that she didn't gain control of that. She seems so solid, but it just wasn't enough time with that slip.
Yeah, and that's kind of a nice thing that we have here with especially high-level competition climbing. We do have the ability to review. Judges have the ability to review. We have a chief judge here on site for every event. We also have the chief route setter for the event. And if there is kind of a question, the athlete, of course, has the ability to appeal the decision by the judge that was initially called. So in that situation, if Quinn was confident, if she said, I topped that boulder and I think that I did it and maybe the judges missed it, then she can file an appeal. The video, the official video will be reviewed, and then the chief judge in coordination with the chief route setter will then make a determination on whether or not the appeal will be granted. And that way, you know, because we're all human, yeah, we can miss things, we can make mistakes, and this just allows the true and fairness aspect of the climbs to reign.
Yeah, it does make sense that in any competitive sport, you have your judges or your refs, and sometimes there's a call, sometimes you can make your appeal or contest in some way, you can review the footage, and it is, sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes it does. Sometimes you'll see a climber that's climbed in a boulder many minutes ago will come back out because they've reviewed the footage, some call that was deemed incorrect. That's the way it goes, and the climbers do get granted another chance. Here we've got Kaitlyn Bone back again. It looked like she was saddling up for quite a dynamic sequence here. We'll see what she can do.
And we see Nakaya there on the instant replay. She did control the zone after that very exciting dyno to an undercling there. Those holds, the zone hold and then the next hold that she's going to, are extremely small, and you need a lot of power to float through those moves, and that's all part of that testing aspect that we like to see.
Here's Solomon Barth. Quite a strong competitor. Technically solid, of course, as they all are, but also kind of a powerhouse, making his way to the top. Got to work at those feet. It seems like a great example of what you were talking about earlier, Cody, is that being taller doesn't necessarily help. Getting that high step looked quite difficult. Solomon is fairly tall, and the flexibility. Oh, Nakaya.
Nakaya, very strong shoulders. Impressive movement there.
Nakaya is an extremely capable competitor. Always a great time to watch. Here's the instant replay. This is one of those old school styles where it's steeper, maybe a little more in-cut, tiny holds, jumps. Ooh, the nasty. The slow-mo for the match. I love that kind of action. It's a bit more fun. I get that there's got to be a place for the power slabs, but I do enjoy those jumps.
Yeah, those raw feats of strength, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for those of you who've been following competition climbing for a long time, you know, you could probably roughly compare the second half of that boulder to a little bit more of that PCA style, where you just have like grips on the wall and you're pulling pretty hard to get through to them, and of course latch on to that next hold and rinse and repeat until that boulder is complete.
Looks like time is running down here. Most of our competitors are calling it. 10 seconds, and we get into it again. Next out is going to be Marco Giacomangelli and Bimini Horstmann. Bimini Horstmann.
I'm excited to see how Bimini climbs. She used to be on the Metro Rock climbing team way back in the day when both Josh Larsen and I were coaching, so I've known Bimini for a long time, and it's so cool to see, climbers all around the country, but folks like her progress from, I think I was coaching her when she was a C or a B in the youth circuit, and then just like keep climbing, keep pushing, and now she's here at the inaugural North American Cup Series in semis in a fairly very solid ranking in the round.
Yeah, we'll see. It seems like there's many of these competitors. So for you and me, we're in our 30s. We've been climbing since maybe late teens, early 20s, something like that. And maybe earlier in our climbing days, some of the people that are in these competitions now, when you and I were starting climbing, they were like 7. And they were like the overly stoked gym kid that you're like, wow, this kid is here every single day. And
some
then
of them weren't even born yet. Yeah, right? I mean, some of these kids,
yeah.
I think Maddie's, I'm not exactly sure. I think she's 17. I mean, not very old.
Not very old, yeah. And I think 16 is the minimum age that you have to be here.
It is, yep.
And which is still, yes, quite young. And especially in a few minutes, we're going to see, for instance, Zach Gala, who is now one of the strongest competitors in climbers in America. And I've seen old footage, and I've seen him around in Chattanooga and in Atlanta when he was like very, very young. And you're like, oh, who is this kid? And you're like, oh, this kid is like the next super pro celebrity climber. He was for sure going to send all your projects in a few years. And it turns out Zach Gala, you're like, oh, it turned out to be a total freak when he grew up. And so many of these competitors fall into that same boat. Bimini back in it. Looks like Bimini's maybe quite short as well.
Yeah, not quite finding the body position there to explode out and latch that hold on the volume. Maddie's got the highest position here, I believe, on women's 3 that we've seen so far.
Maddie really showing how solid she is on her feet. Now, you were telling me in this moment, this is quite insecure to step across this volume, a little scary. These feet are basically vertical. Not a problem for Maddie Dennis. There's a small jib on the right.
Correct. Right where her foot
Seems
is.
to have found it. Gains it with 1. Maddie Dennis, nice and steady.
She's not quite seeing that jib low. She's going to try to put the foot high.
Not a problem.
Impressive flexibility.
Not a problem. Maddie Dennis having quite a good round. There she is on the replay. Small jib under the right foot. It seems like she may have had potentially an easier option for this left, but she opts to do the only thing that she could think of, which in this case was quite fine. Do the super high foot up by the face. There it is, Maddie Dennis once again. Here we've got Palmer Larsen contemplating men's 4, and back to Bimini on women's 1. Another quick note about this competition is that there are no spectators here. Only the people that are working the event or were otherwise competing in qualifiers or anywhere near this facility right now. We actually have a few chairs set up outside with some TVs. Palmer Larsen looking strong here on men's 4. Hopefully Palmer can find his way through here with 22 seconds left to go. Though, looks like that'll be it for Palmer. Grace Ryan, no time.
She did get the zone there, though. It's very good for her.
Which matters, of course. Here we have Joe Goodacre getting started in men's 4. We're about maybe halfway through our semifinals round. Taya Wolf, boulder number 1, loses the feet. That volume on the right side, that looks like you've got a decent angle on it, but it's the volume on the left that looks like it's sloping away from you so drastically that as soon as you go to jump, you put that extra power into your feet, you lose it, and you're out.
Yeah, you're definitely right there.
Here, Nick Milburn, if I'm correct. I believe that is Nick.
Yeah, for sure. That's Nick Milburn.
Nicholas Milburn. I'm not sure if Nicholas still lives in Chattanooga. He did. That's my hometown. Lived there for a long time, regularly coming to the gym, showing us how it's done.
Yeah, he actually he just moved back to Boulder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Well, good. He can't make us look bad no mo, which is fine with me. But I did have some time to speak to him for quite a while yesterday. I do have somewhat of a plan to bring him onto the live stream with me in finals if he doesn't make it. But I have my fingers crossed that he does make it. And then I'll have to call it on you again, Cody.
Oh, that's all right. Seeing some solid movement here now on men's 3. This boulder, it might look like the most straightforward. We were talking about this with Al a little bit earlier. It's kind of difficult to really perceive what the grips are like and what the body positions are like. But for the hold that you saw, I believe which climber is that on the wall right there?
That's Quinn Mason. And on the right side, Tim Kang.
Tim Kang, yeah, that's right. So, you can kind of see right in the bright spot there, Tim kind of had his left hand on this really small crimp. I mean, this is a properly small quarter pad, 3 fingers crimp. And kind of the design, the intention of the design is to find the appropriate position with your feet. And you can kind of do one of 2 things. You can, there we go, you get a nice tight angle on that. You can get a nice piano match and really just, push your fingers along, crimp extremely hard, as shuffling your left fingers out and shuffling those right fingers in. Or you can also do what we call as a Houdini match, where you actually take this left hand, as you can see, and then you're going to let go,
he wanted it.
Pull up with the left, and then snatch it with the right, allowing you the finger position to then move forward on the boulder.
Yeah, I've heard that Houdini match. Actually, a Houdini match might be new for me. We call it a ghost match. Same.
Yeah.
I could count on one finger how many times I've successfully done a ghost match, Houdini match. It seems like an efficient way to get things done, but a hard enough technique in its own right.
Yeah, a lot of risk involved.
Certainly.
And I do mean risk as in like ability to succeed, not danger factor.
Yeah. Yeah, in the setting in competitive climbing world, we talk about risk a lot. And what that means is you can move more dynamically, and that is actually going to be the easiest way to get something done. But if it goes slightly wrong, there's no way to recover from it. So risk could be compared to level of commitment, where it's not slow, it's quick, and if you get it wrong, it's going to spit you off in an instant you can't recover from. And a lot of these boulders are set to be high risk.
Yeah, there's kind of like 3 determining factors a lot of times that we'll use to talk about and discuss whether it's boulder problems or sequences or single moves. And for some of you route setters out there, this will be kind of a more common thing that you're hearing around the circuit more and more is this idea of risk, intensity, and complexity, or RIC for short. So we kind of talk about what is the level of risk on a boulder, and then the intensity and the complexity for the athletes that we are testing, right? And we try to do our best to balance out those 3 levels throughout a round of climbs, and then of course also throughout the event weekend, to test as many different components of rock climbing as reasonably possible.
I've seen setters with a sheet actually before, and I think it was sort of an introductory thing that you were just getting started looking into. But you had a system, it seemed like you were developing of, I hesitate to use the word grading. It's not like it's different, but you were assessing and giving a number to these different levels of intensity, risk, and complexity, and using that as sort of a roadmap to see where you're at in a round.
Yeah, I think that's actually really nice to like not really give like V grades to these boulder problems, because they're just, I mean, it's rock climbing, right? But it's also just very, very different. Like everything about competition climbing in a lot of ways can be very different than outdoor climbing. From the movements themselves, although I could argue probably pretty successfully that the majority of the moves that you see on indoor boulder problems, especially at comp levels, you can see or have seen in outdoor climbs. But there's just a lot that goes into it. The competition psychology and a lot of the other factors that we have already mentioned. That it's a little bit more fair to just discuss climbs using a little bit more, I won't go so far as to say arbitrary, but differing grading, so to speak, than we're traditionally used to, because it just doesn't qualify exactly what we need to discuss to get the results maybe that we need throughout the rounds.
Yeah, it just seemed the V grade does not seem to capture the essence of the difficulty in this setting, so it's just, it goes out the window. We look at it in different ways. Right now, we've got Carrie Scott getting started on women's number 1. For the gentlemen, it's Anthony Lessick. There's Anthony on the left side.
Just going to give a quick shout out to the route setting crew here. We have Jeremy Harden as the chief route setter for this event. We also have Jeremy Ho, Enrico Baistrocchi, Josh Larsen, and myself. And
Cody Grotsky.
Yeah, Cody Grotsky. Yeah, that's right. It's like just such a fun crew to work with. Really, really great group of guys, and they're all so talented, and it's just a lot of fun to work with individuals who are as passionate about something as yourself, and fun to go out to Salt Lake, and we're all from different parts of the country. Yeah. I mean, Harden is from the East Coast, DC area. Enrico is originally from Italy, but in San Diego now at Mesa Rim. Jeremy Ho, traditionally from the Bay Area, now living in Dallas. I just moved away from Chattanooga, back in Boston, and
I did not know that.
Yeah, surprise. Yeah, I'm actually no longer in Chattanooga.
We need to talk later about that. Yeah, it's fine.
For any folks out there,
fine.
If this is the first time, I'm sorry to tell you that here, but
can't tell nobody.
Yeah, it's kind of that little bit of that Irish exit, I guess.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll forgive you.
Yeah, and it's really cool too. Also, just like on a personal note, like setting with Josh. Josh is actually a huge factor in my like route setting career. It's so awesome getting to work with him at an event. We haven't worked together, I think, since probably Dark Horse season 4 or 5. We used to work together in Boston with Dave Wetmore and a bunch of other folks out there, and so it's cool, kind of coming full circle 10 or so years later and working together out here in Salt Lake for a completely different generation of climbers and a completely different generation of events, and still get to hang out with your buddies and and have a good time.
Yeah, just up a level.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Cool to see.
It's really fun.
All the homies from the old school crew to say, well, we're all here, we're all still in the game, we've made it, we're doing these high level events.
Yeah, so
cool.
The old man crew. I think our average age is like 35 or 36 right now for the setting crew.
Too old.
Old men, bad knees and weak shoulders.
It works. Somehow you make it work. Y'all tough. You just tough. Setters overall. Anthony Lessick was looking close previously, but can't find the feet now. Got Maddie Dennis here trying to navigate this dyno women's 4. Here we got Gabe Galen, another quite strong competitor. Same deal, loses the feet. Doesn't matter how strong you are when the feet go from under you. And that seems like that's just consistent. Is that, sure, you're strong, you lose the feet, you don't stand a chance. These aren't boulders you can campus through. Here we got Carrie Scott. Not going to find the way through. 2 seconds down to nothing. And a new round goes. Next out is Morgan Taj.
Yeah, it's nice to get back into competition climbing here in the U.S. I mean, the past few weekends, we've had a bunch of events out here in Salt Lake City. We had those back-to-back World Cups where we saw podiums by a bunch of U.S. athletes, which was just like so incredible to see. I mean, Natalia
nearly killed me. Nearly made my heart stop.
I mean, we couldn't believe it, right? I mean, Natalia taking back-to-back golds, Brookie taking third, and then of course Sean Bailey also taking home that gold on the world stage, right here in the hometown, the center of USA Climbing. You know, the headquarters is super cool, and I think a big part of it, right, is we're just like elevating the competition game here in the U.S. I mean, prior to that, we had the national team trials at my old home gym of High Point Climbing and Fitness at our Memphis facility out there. And again, testing the athletes in so many different ways on both boulders, sport, as well as speed, preparing them for what they'll inevitably see here at the Olympics in not so many weeks. Chief route setters for that event, as well as the setting crews, did a fantastic job. We had Brad Weaver achieving
the national team trials.
The national team trials, yeah, yep, exactly. We had Brad Weaver achieving the sport side of things, along with just an A-list crew of route setters. And then on the other side, we had Nick Oklubja achieving the boulder event with again just absolute monster bouldering squad. They put in so much work. I mean, it's one of those things that sometimes the route setters are just like, you know, we just got to get this done. We got to get in. We got to get out. And you know, just want to like say to all those folks, especially talking to a lot of the athletes, Tim Kang, they're psyched on
Tim Kang, really handling that quite well.
Yeah, just
yes,
the route setters. I just want to say they do such a great job. Especially, I know how hard that national team trials event was. There was so many days on. I think it was 12 or 13 days on of high level route setting and forerunning, and they just did it. They did a fantastic job that event.
Here we've got Ross Fulkerson looking for that finish hold. Once again, as with the rest, precarious positions. He's strong enough. Can he find position? It's a matter of thinking about what the solution might be in real time. Here, Taya Wolf. Looking for that finish with the left hand. Oh, almost saves it, not quite. Looks like Ross Fulkerson may have found his way through. Here's Taya Wolf again. Looking so strong, goes fairly slow. Almost can't hold it. To what you were saying earlier, Cody, you're talking about setters and national team trials going 12 or 13 days on, which 12 or 13 days of continuous normal work, like in a pizza shop, is insane to do, and it's exhausting. But I've heard it many times, and I've seen this firsthand, that setting, it seems, in terms of like labor and effort, I don't know what, it might be on par with working in concrete. I don't know. It seems like a very difficult job.
Yeah, there's a lot of components to it, right? I mean, there's like just the raw, like physical, like, you know, those volumes, especially like the bigger wooden volumes, they're not light, man. I mean, they weigh a decent amount, and you know, you got to go up on the ladders and mount them and climb and tweak and adjust and move them. Yeah, there's lots of steps that get in. You know, if you're checking out your Apple Watch or your Fitbit there, but yeah, it can be difficult. But I mean, I'd like to say that I speak for all the route setters out there. Like, we do it because we love it. We do it because we love the sport. We're extremely passionate about it, and whether or not you're watching, you know, elite level athletes like we're seeing here at the North American Cup Series, or, you know, there's also a lot of like regional championships going on this weekend and last weekend and then coming up as well. You know, having those next generation of youth athletes, like, that's why we do it. You know, it's we love to see the close there. We love to see, you know, these athletes do their best and try real hard and learn and explore and succeed, have fun. It really is what it's all about.
Yeah, as hard as it is and as hard as it seems, it does seem simply fun. Cool. It's a cool job. Next out right now, we've got Stefan Fellner. Stefan was at the World Cup a few weekends ago. Did not make it into finals, but still did quite well. I've seen him compete in nationals many times. Another phenomenal climber. Right now in camera, we've got Isis Rothfork. Here on the left side, Stefan nearly finding his way through, but not quite. And then to his right, Bimini. And we are just about in our top 8. I think our competitors out right now are seated in the 9th place position, and next out will be 8th, and so on until we get into the competitors coming into the qualifying round in first. Here, Carrie Scott. Carrie, another quite capable climber, has done many difficult routes in the New River Gorge. Seen a slideshow about it once. It's quite good.
For those of you who don't know, too, Carrie's just like a super sweet, wonderful person, and she's also like bone-crushingly strong at rock climbing. She competed on the collegiate circuit for a long time. Just a great person, and I think that's really awesome to see. Like, I think most rock climbers are just like really great people who try really hard, have really positive personalities, and Carrie's definitely one of them.
It's a great combination. Carrie here working hard. Looks like she's got a little bit of a knee scum up in there. Putting that sport climbing ability to use here, taking a moment to compose.
For those of you following along at home, don't know if we have the live scoring available to show on screen, but I do have a little bit of an inside track here for you behind the scenes. So far, we have, I believe, 4 athletes that have finished their round of 4 boulders, and so far we have Maddie Dennis in first, Quentin Mason in second, Nakaya Sanders in third, and Maddie Morris in fourth. Actually, it looks like we do have Isabel and Grace Ryan have also finished some of their boulders as well as Autumn Lloyd. And those are the current rankings. We do have a lot of other climbers still on the wall with only 2 or 3 boulders complete. And then, of course, we still have a number of climbers to come. In the women's field, we have some of the top athletes. No stranger to these names: Alex Puccio, we have Allison Vest, Maya Madeir, CC Kopp, SBC, Chloe Koskoy, just to name a few. And on the men's side, still to come, of course, we've mentioned already Zach Galla, Charlie Barron, Kai Leitner, Carlo Traversi, AJ Flynn, Ben Hanna, and then a new name that some folks in the U.S. circuit might not know, Christopher Kosser. Chris Kosser is a South African athlete who will be competing in the Olympics. Didn't really know much about him until recently. He's been out here in Salt Lake for about a month training, and let me just tell you, this boy is strong.
Yeah, I saw him at the World Cup as well.
He showed up to qualies yesterday and put in some serious work, so it'll be really cool to see how he does and how he stacks up to the top of the U.S. men's field here.
Very, very cool. Well, it should be an exciting remainder of the semifinals round. Here we got Lily Gertison doing battle on boulder number 1. Which, let me check my scorecard. I'm not sure that boulder number 1 has seen a top yet. It has not. Quinn Mason's so close, but not quite. Here's Ben Hanna, another fantastic U.S. competitor. Yes, Hanna smash, as they say. As he says, Hanna now looking for that top. Will he find the feet? Either a bit of a drop knee inside that yellow hold on his left hand or a toe hook on the far side. Both of which seem obvious when you already know. It's a different situation in real time. We have
some success here to the zone on men's too. It'd be awesome to see a little bit of an instant replay on that. That's the first athlete that we've seen get to that zone.
That looks like Ross Fulkerson there.
Nice
Looks
top
like
by Ben
might have found his way through. Ross looking to do the very same thing here, eyeing up that top. Ross, an extremely strong and talented climber. He's kind of resting as he makes his way to the top.
Yeah, it kind of sits along with that theme there of moving between the body positions is hard.
Come on. There he goes, Ross Fulkerson.
Finds that solution.
Taya Wolf here, looking to find her way up boulder number 2.
An instant replay of that top there on men's 4. Choosing that left-hand slap beta. And Ross Fulkerson right around the same time. Now, for those of you at home, you might have seen that he actually kind of slightly stalled or paused on trying to match the volume, but in a really strong athlete sense, quickly identified that it was the jib itself that was taped as the top and not the volume. So had he grabbed the crimp with his left hand, touched the volume, controlled it, and popped off, he would have not received the top, as that was not the demarcated top hold.
Looks like we're about to see another top here. Here, Taya Wolf established once again up on boulder number 2. So she's got to get established into this press, work her way up, stemming in between those 2 volumes. It appears that transferring your feet from the lower volume into the stem between the 2 vertical volumes is quite an issue if you don't get set up correctly. Here, Lily Gertison on the elusive boulder number 1. By now at home, you know how this goes. You stand on this feature in the middle, and then so you gotta get so solid on your feet there. If you try, it seems that if you try to move before the position is right, then you're floating away from the wall too early. You can't control the pinch, and you certainly can't paddle your way to the blue hold.
Nick
Looks
getting
like
close
Nick,
on that
yep.
Houdini match. Really trying to go for that zone.
Nick Milburn not finding his way through. Here we got some live scoring, which is nice. If you don't know how to read this scoring, I'll go through it from the beginning. If you haven't tried anything at all yet, there will be nothing next to your name whatsoever. If you have tried boulders but not done anything, if you've climbed on them but haven't established a zone or the top, you're going to see their score comes up in gray, a gray box. And then after that, you get green boxes. You get one green box for the zone, you get another green box for the top. And within that green box is a number which indicates how many attempts it took you to find that zone or top, respectively. And of course, the thing that really matters is the vertical orientation. If you're at the top of the list, you're in first place. So if you're not as interested in the intricacies of the scoring system, you can look for who's in first, who's in second, and that can be enough. Here, Sierra Blair Coyle, known as SBC, looking to take down boulder number 1. Let's see if she has it. 4 minutes on the clock, plenty of time.
SBC, no stranger to semis, no stranger to finals. Super strong climber, really good body awareness, and just has a great movement on the wall. And that just comes with the experience of climbing at a high level and competing at a high level for many, many years. Bimini struggling a little bit on the jump there.
Looks like Marco on the left side. Oh, gains that top hold.
We are here at the U.S. National and Olympic Team Training Center out in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is where all of your Olympic athletes train to prepare to move forward to Tokyo, or as at least the home base. You'll see Nathaniel and Kyra here a lot, along with the other national team athletes. Of course, Brookie and Colin are out there in Boulder, Colorado, training super hard as well, but they do make trips out here very regularly to train with the rest of the team. And looks like we might see a top here.
Isis Rothfork looking strong. Another top on women's number 2. There's the instant replay. Beta seems to be pretty consistent across the board on how everyone is approaching this. Gain the right, find the position, and the match. SBC still working her way through, trying to get back across that zone, see if she can find the top. Our scores once again, Brian Squire in first place with 2 tops. And you can see Tim Kang has 2 tops as well. But it looks like Brian Squire beat him in the... No, I am not correct. Tim does not have 2 tops. 2 zones. Yeah, the scoring is small. The little numbers on them are small as well, but the most important part is that you can see who's in first.
SBC making some moves there, using that little bit of a bicycle on that lower volume. Trying to get some purchase on that little seam there. Bimini getting closer on the jump. And that is an invalid attempt there on men's 2. You do have to start with all 4 appendages on the mark starting tapes. You don't have to, there's nothing saying that a hand has to go here or a foot has to go there, but there has to be an appendage on all 4 of those flashes, establishing control before you move on to the next hold and start the boulder problem.
Here, AJ Flynn making his way across, looking for that top hold.
SBC still climbing, still finding that body position. This is the same attempt. We've cut away a number of times now. She's going so slow. She might need to hurry up here if she has a chance at getting the top.
Same for AJ with 6 seconds left. Somebody do something quick. Please do it for me.
Just not quite enough.
So close.
Well, Al, I'm gonna have to step away here, connect with the route setting team, and kind of discuss a little bit of our preparations moving on to finals. But I really appreciate the time and the conversation.
Of course, Cody. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you. It's been quite a while. Thank you for all your insight into these boulders, and good luck for finals. Have a good time out there setting, You have a little bit of work to do this afternoon. Is that right?
Yeah, just a little bit. But
yeah, a little bit. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
fine.
be all good. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, take care.
Yeah. Here we got Chloe Koskoy. Chloe looking very strong. Another competitor who is no stranger to finals, no stranger to competing at the national level, no stranger to the podium. We'll see what she can do. She moves her way across this zone. Looking for that elusive blue crescent. Oh, so close. With plenty of time on the clock, I think Chloe might be the one to take it home. Here on the left side, man who needs no introduction, Carlo Traversi. Carlo's been competing at the highest level for quite a long time, is continuously showing his ability at these competitions and outside, still pushing the limit, and has been for a long time. Very excited to see what he can do in this semifinals round and beyond. Here we got Lily Gertison on the right side, Ben Hanna deep in the cave on the left, looking to navigate these large volumes. Here's Chloe once again. Normally this is where I would start to cheer Chloe on, but in this case, all we can do, is silently watch. She can't hear us. That's all right. Looks like Taya Wolf testing out those crash pads. There she goes again, going for the dyno. Full commit, takes a swing. Hits the ground, clean fall, she seems all right. These competitors certainly are not afraid to go for it and hit the ground sideways or head first. I've seen competitors flip off the wall. A variety of falls that sometimes look bad and are fine, and sometimes you can fall wrong and it does not feel good, but it's impressive that they don't seem to have the fear. They go for it. I guess that's what it's like to compete at this level. You're at a national competition. It's simply not the time to be afraid. It's the time to go for it, and they do. Chloe with 30 seconds left, going again. Can't find that right foot. Taya Wolf taking another crack at the dyno and finds it. Taya Wolf gains the zone. One more long pull, a brief match. Looking for the left hand, barely gets it, locks it down, matches again. Taya Wolf now looking for that top. Taya with a high foot, gains it with the right hand. Strong into the shoulder, and Taya Wolf takes it home with only 3 seconds left on the clock. Excellent performance for Taya Wolf. Next up, it looks like Cece Kopf on boulder number 1. Cece, another quite exceptional climber, very strong on her feet, very good with the body positions. Hopefully she can find a way to get through. Would love to see a top on boulder number 1 here. For those of you at home that don't know, Sienna, she goes by Cece. I'm not sure I've ever heard anyone call her Sienna. I gotta ask her, is it always Cece? Does your grandma call you Cece? I don't know. Here we got Kai Leitner. Cece always quite patient, quite confident and positive, taking her time, brushing off holds. Kai Leitner looking as strong as ever, always climbing so gracefully. Kai Leitner, quite tall, quite flexible, very strong. Always a really great time to watch Kai climb. Let's see how he chooses to manage this tricky last position as he works his way towards the top. 3 minutes left, plenty of time to recover if something goes wrong, but hopefully Kai can get through right now. Kai gaining it with one hand, but we know that's not enough because there's nothing to grab. Oftentimes, controlling the finish hold is all about getting it with that first hand, much like women's 4, I believe, but in this one, it's not about the hand that's on the hold. It's about the feet, the toe hook. Kai Leitner finds it. Excellent work by Kai. So composed. Here we got SBC on boulder number 2. And that's AJ Flynn in the back corner. Carrie Scott taking a crack at that dyno. And there's AJ brushing up with under 2 minutes to go. Plenty of time for competitors to make something happen. One thing about this clock, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to try putting yourself on a clock at home. If you haven't done it, try it. Walk up to a boulder, don't look at it, set a 4-minute timer, start the timer, then turn around. Try to do the boulder in 4 minutes. You'd be shocked at how short 4 minutes or 5 minutes seems when you're under the gun like that. Even if it's many grades below your limit. If it's anywhere close to it, it becomes a different game. You try it one time, you're exhausted, you come down, the clock's almost gone. So it's just it's an entirely different game of what these competitors have to deal with. Is not can you climb the grade, so to speak, but can you climb it every moment, all the time, on the clock, over and over again, within ultimately a 25-minute window. Different situation entirely. Here, Carrie Scott looking for that dyno again. So close. Time counting down, less than a minute to go. Cece Kopp looks like she might be getting tired at the start as well. Back to AJ and SBC. Time counting down, SBC looking for that zone. All these competitors fighting hard on all sides. SBC coming so close, but saves it. Gets back up, looks like she's thrown the knee up. 2 seconds to go. Oh, she looked at the judges like she may have thought that was the zone that she had controlled. Which unfortunately was not, but no matter. Another valiant effort. Next out for the ladies on the right side here, we've got Maya Madare from Texas. Maya Madare coming into semifinal seated in the 4th place position. We want to see that top. Hopefully Maya can do it. Maya off to a strong start. Looks like she will gain that zone. Ross Fulkerson on the left side, men's number 4. Seems like a bit more of a powerful boulder than some of these other slabs and techie routes. All of our climbers looking quite solid. Far left side, Chloe Koskoy. Here we got Ross Fulkerson getting up there. One more move to the top. Ross gains it with 1, finds it with 2. Seems like that finish move, if you can get there, is not so bad. Chloe Koskoy right behind him, finds a match on women's 2. And like we would expect as we get towards the end of a semifinals round, our strongest competitors start to come out. We start to see these boulders go down a little bit easier. Here on men's 1, we've got Charlie Barron, another competitor from the World Cup and is a regular at the American Nationals. Expect to see some tops from him as well. And then now in frame is Lily Gertison. The right side looks like Ben Hanna. Trying to navigate that small crimp on the right side for Ben Hanna. Very small. I saw that one up close. It is, the feet are, I don't know how to say it, heinous. They're just bad. They're not positive. They're smears on a near vertical wall, and you have so much weight in that tiny right hand. Here, Maya Madare looking to make her way through to that blue crescent hold. Opts for the high foot as opposed to that toe hook underneath that small feature she's on. Maya Madare thinking about it, deciding if she wants to jump now or trying to match her feet where she is. Deciding to take that small seam in the wall. Maya Madare so carefully navigating those feet, but still looks like she may not be in a good enough position to jump. She's going to have to get that left foot on. Ben Hanna managing to get his right hand on that small crimp. But again, there's nothing to stand on. So you're dead hanging essentially, who knows what, an 8mm hole with no feet on a slab, maybe smaller, and only 3 fingers wide. Here we got Morgan Taj. Gains control of the zone. Morgan looked for this top as well on women's 4. In the end, can't hang that crimp. It's small, like we've already said. The crimps are smaller than you know. Maya Madare still up there, potentially on the same effort. It's difficult to say. These slabs can be difficult in their own way because there she goes. Oh, it can be easy to stay where you are on the slab, and you don't want to waste the attempt, so you take your time to think about it, but at the same time, the clock always running down inexorably towards 0. Morgan, looking for it again, comes up short. Ben Hanna on the right side. Looks like that's going to be the round. Maya Madare looking for one more attempt. Goes for it. Not going to see it. Next out for the ladies, number 34 here on the right side, Allison Vest, representing Canada. Another excellent World Cup competitor. Still looking for that top on boulder number 1. Will we see it? 2 more competitors to go after Allison. Here we go, scoreboard on the left side. Ross Fulkerson sitting in first place with 3 tops. Boulder number 3, quite elusive with no tops. I believe that's on the far right side of this wall that we're seeing now. Red holds the one with the tiny crimp in the Houdini match. Interestingly enough, it was one of the ones that I looked at and said, I think I could read this. I think I know how this climbs. And Cody told me before the stream started that he considers it the hardest boulder in the room, which seems to be true, as it has seen no tops. Here, SBC on the left side, Sierra Blair Coyle looking to find her way up into the stem position. Kai Leitner on the far right side. Looking pretty strong now, managing to make his way up on top of that large feature. Nearly gains those small crimps in the blue volume. Looking to work the feet a little bit, use that flexibility. This is promising for Kai Leitner with plenty of time in the clock. Even if he doesn't get through this time, it seems like he does have a chance. CC Kopf on the right. We've got action on all sides now. Isis Rothfork on the left, looking for the top. 3 climbers all looking quite promising. CC seems to be the closest to the top. She's got eyes on it. Locking it down, gains it with 1. Now she's looking for that right foot, which, yeah, CC Kopf making it happen. That's normally when the crowd goes wild, but in this case, we don't have one. It's just us. So if you're at home and you're watching, go wild anyway. They can't hear you. It's still a good time. And maybe it does something. Maybe they feel it through the Wi-Fi. There's CC Kopf again in the bottom right. Using that flexibility, easily finding that high right foot. Fairly casual for the finish on that one, at least for CC, at least for that burn. Sierra Blair Coyle once again looking to find her way up into this stem here between these 2 features. Looks like she may be onto something. Maybe those hands weren't high enough in the end. Now back to Isis Rothfork. And then Kai Leitner, right side, deep in the cave with 1 minute to go. And of course, Allison Vest back on boulder number 1. Here's Chris Kosser from South Africa. The abbreviation for South Africa, this is incidental, this is a side thing. Oh, big fall for Isis on the left side. The abbreviation for South Africa is RSA, which at the World Cups, I could almost say he came from Russia. Big mistake, he did not come from Russia. That is the Republic of South Africa. And here he is representing, looking for this match. Oh, doesn't find it. If you told the competitors, get the toe hook, get the left toe hook, they'd find the match every time. But in the moment with seconds to go, you've got one hand on the finish hold, you just want to match it. What do? I'm going to make it work. You try to match, but in this case, the volume is just too bad. Without having the feet, it's just not going to happen. Here, Alex Puccio, American climbing celebrity, coming into semifinals in 2nd place. Alex Puccio, it may be as strong as they come. Obviously, you know what we're looking for. We're looking for control of that blue crescent hold on the right side of women's number 1, and of course the top. Hopefully Alex Puccio is the one to take us there. The left side here, just getting started, we've got Zach Galla, another one of America's strongest. Zach Galla currently sitting in first place. I believe Zach Galla recently recovered from a shoulder surgery and is just starting to get back on his feet. He was at the World Cup, and even recovering from the surgery, Zach Galla made it into semifinals for his first time and then finals for his first time in the World Cup, which is very exciting for him. So exciting to see him doing so well even following that surgery. Ben Hanna taking it home on men's 4. Then looks like Chloe Koskoy here looking for that top on women's 3. Chloe Koskoy nice and steady here. Now looking for that right foot. Small jib. That's a hard step down and right. Here's Alex Puccio making her way across the zone. Taking a look around, trying to decide if she's going to go now. It looks like she's going to get loaded up and try to do it all in one. But it doesn't seem like women's 1 is not letting anyone pass, especially not if you try to do it all in one. It seems that you must get situated with both feet on that feature in the center and then take your jump from there. Charlie Barron on the right side, looking fairly comfortable here. Quite promising. He's got his hip loaded up into that large feature. This boulder quite three-dimensional. Charlie Barron looking so strong. Eyes on that finish hold. Gains it with the left hand. Charlie nice and steady, now looking for the match. Taking his time to figure things out. Charlie, come on. Charlie Barron finds it. Taking home boulder number 4, one of fairly few to do so. Left side, we've got Lily Gerdeson. Then Chloe Koskoy back up again. And Zach Galla on the left. Zach Galla makes his way to the zone. Looking for the toe hook. That's what we like to see. Zach Galla showing his ability there. Finishing up boulder number 1. Chloe Koskoy not quite able to find it, but with a minute left on the clock, we're still hopeful. Alex Puccio again. Let's see if she changes things up this time or tries. It looks like she's going to try it all in one again. Hopefully she changes that up, and with just under 30 seconds on the clock now, we may not see it. Lily Gerdeson taking another crack at boulder number 4. Hopefully she's still got the finger strength. Goes with the wrong hand, backs up. Gets, what is she going to look for? The high foot, the heel, taking an unconventional route here. Looks like she's going right hand, but not going to make it, and that's time. Next up for the ladies on boulder number 1, Emma Hunt, coming into semifinals in the first place position. Our last new competitor of the morning. And then we just run through them and see what happens. Emma Hunt, obviously a quite capable boulderer, coming into semifinals, sitting in first place, but also I believe holds the women's record for speed climbing in America as well. So is an incredible cross-discipline climber, which in the current state of climbing is what you need. Emma Hunt doing very well in that opening jump move, gaining the zone. Emma Hunt's our last chance to see a top on boulder number 1. Emma Hunt looking quite solid on her feet. She might be pinned down on that. I'd say Emma Hunt has a chance. I think Quinn Mason is the only other climber to even gain the blue crescent on the right side. Emma Hunt seems very close to using the same beta as Quinn Mason did. Hopefully we can see a top from her. Chloe Koskoy on the left, or not, it's CC Kopp, excuse me. That was Kai Leitner on the right side, taking a different approach to boulder number 3, which also has not seen a top. Here, Emma Hunt getting back into the action. Kai Leitner here with control of the zone. And potentially, I'd have to check my scores, but I think Kai is the only person to control the zone on boulder number 3. Yes, I believe that is true. So much action happening all around the room. It is hard to keep track here. We've got SBC, Sierra, Blair Coyle loading up for that dyno. On the right side, I believe that is Chris Kosser from the Republic of South Africa. No, I think Chris Kosser was here for the World Cups. And hey, you got another comp just around the corner. Maybe he decided to stay. There's Kai Leitner on the right side, really making it work with that different beta. You can see there Maddie Dennis still in first. Quinn Mason in second place. And Nikaya Sanders in third. CC Kopp gains the top there on women's 3. Looks for the match. Looking, oh! She looked so steady but lost it. But fear not, at-home viewers. We're going to see a top, I can feel it. I think Emma Hunt stands a chance. CC stands a chance. Certainly Kai Leitner stands a chance. Emma Hunt back in the action right now. 1 minute to go. Emma Hunt switched up the beta a little bit on that run. Hopefully she changes it back to her something closer to her previous method. Kai fighting for it on the right side. Manages to find his way to the zone again. Both Kai Leitner and CC looking so solid. Definitely rooting for CC Kopp from the left side as always. CC gains that small jib on the right foot. Looks like she will gain it with 1 seconds to go. CC Kopp finds the top. Kai Leitner just comes up short. But even so, for Kai Leitner to control the zone on men's 3 may be enough to put him in the finals as long as the rest of his round goes well. Here on our instant replay with maybe 3 seconds to go at this point, we see Kai go for it, nearly find the top, and CC take one home. Here's Maya Madare on women's 3. Maya steady on her feet as she works her way up into that stem position. Here we've got Chloe Kosko on the left side, Zach Galla on the right. Hopefully that shoulder doesn't give Zach Galla any trouble on the right side in this cave. Here's Charlie Barron on the right side, Maya on the left. Charlie having trouble navigating that tiny crimp. You can just barely see it. It looks like a tiny speck, almost like a piece of dirt on your screen, but it is not. It is one tiny crimp, 3 fingers wide, extremely small, terrible feet. Seems to be the crux. Here we got the score for the men. Ross Fulkerson still in first place, Ben Hanna in second, Charlie Barron in third place. Chloe Koskoy making her way through that dyno again. Gains the zone. Yes, Chloe Koskoy looking so strong. Chloe now with eyes on the finish hold, gains it with right, struggles for it, but keeps it, finds the feet, and Chloe Koskoy takes another one home, sending women's 4. Now Zach Galla and Alex Puccio still battling with 2 minutes left on the clock. Looks like Carla Traversi on the right side, looking to take home boulder number 4. There's the instant replay in the bottom. Chloe Koskoy so strong, finding that high foot, putting it all on the right shoulder, finding the match. Well done for Chloe Koskoy. Alex Puccio here on the left side, finding that zone. Now it's a matter of that high left foot, and she's got it up. Now she's looking for that finish hold, that top, gains it with the left hand. Now looks for the right foot, finds it. Another one for Alex Puccio. Lots of our competitors finishing the round. Still have Maya Madare here on the left, Charlie Barron on the right side. Alex Puccio across the room finishing up. She's done, so now I believe it's only Zach Galla over there on men's 4. 2, men's 2. Zach Galla still in the battle, under a minute. You can't see it. There's a crimp, a decent crimp behind that large feature that his hands are on. Zach taking a quite unconventional method to find his way through, but the young man is so strong that it doesn't seem to matter. At this point, Zach Galla having made it so far, I feel like he's got what it takes to make it through, but it slows him down for a second. He opts to mantle up onto that zone. Gains the crimp with the right hand. Zach Galla looking so strong. There he goes. Zach Galla with 3 seconds left on the clock is looking for the match. Come on, Zach Galla. No, he doesn't match it. You can see there that the tape is not on the volume on men's 2. It's actually on that small screw-on the left hand. A small oversight on Zach Galla's part with a huge consequence. We'll see it here in the instant replay. Zach Galla had what he needed, but with only seconds left, no time to think, goes for it, matches the volume, is not going to get the top on that. And you can see the disappointment in the realization on his face as he falls down. It's unfortunate situation for Zach Gallo, but he's got 2 more boulders to go. Hopefully there's enough that he can still make his way in the finals. Here's CC Kopf on women's 4, looking to navigate this dyno. A fresh round, nearly 4 minutes on the clock. We'll see what they can do. Kai Leitner looking quite strong. Feet skating slightly, but doesn't seem to be a problem. Kai Leitner working his feet up, gains the finish hold and finds a match. Another excellent performance for Kai Leitner. Left side on the yellow holds, we've got Emma Hunt looking to get established. And then CC Kopf on the far left side. CC finds the zone, that tiny crimp. Works the feet like so many others. No match for CC. Tries to go straight through, but does not find it. Here we got Allison Vest. Into her right, just off camera, Chris Kosser. Chris looking to navigate this crimp. Like so many others, is he going to go for the Houdini match? Yes, but does not find it. The Houdini match, it seems like another level of difficulty entirely when you're standing on feet, such as the ones found on that boulder, men's 3. Emma Hunt still looking to get established here on women's 2. In speaking with Cody Grotzky before the semifinals round began, he did tell me that simply getting established on women's 2 is a major part of the difficulty there. Difficult position, difficult feet. As always, harder than it looks. Cece making her way through that dyno on women's 4 again. Now she'll probably get both feet, high right foot, left heel underneath. Goes for the cross, barely finds it. CC Kopf now with a fair chance of making it to the finish. Loses the feet, puts it in the shoulder, controls it, and finds the match. CC Kopf taking another one home. A hard-fought battle and well won. Here, Allison Vest on the left side. Nice and composed, a quick chalk. She looks to find her way to this precarious finish on women's 2. You can almost tell how bad these feet are given this angle right now. Looks like she's got that finish hold with one hand, works the feet. Fights for it, and Allison Vest finds her way through, gains the match on women's 2. Women's 3, excuse me. Emma Hunt still looking to find her way through the beginning of women's 2. Only seconds left on the clock. It looks like she's going to call it around, save it. Oftentimes we will see that if climbers deem that something is just simply not going to happen, they'll decide to call it, save it for the rest of the round. Obviously, there's a fair amount of strategy that goes into this. It's not always try as hard as you can all the time. But on the other side of it is knowing when to back off, leave some in the tank, and make it up in the rest of the round. Here we've got Alex Puccio on the left side, Zach Gallo on the right. 4.5 minutes on the clock. Let's see what they can do. Maya Madare here getting started, looking for this dyno. She loads up the swing, drops the right foot. Doesn't find it. Looking forward to see how Zach contends with his small crimp on the right side. He's got some of the strongest fingers in the game, but still you can see how bad those feet are as he contemplates how he's going to handle it, opting for the heel hook in a very graceful Houdini match for Zach Galla. Zach Galla may be the one that can take us home on this boulder. But still, those feet prove to be a little bit too much, or perhaps not enough. Things do look promising for Zach. Here we got Charlie Barron. Charlie gains the zone, finds the feet, works his way up into the undercling. Gets the hips up, now he's looking for the match. Now he's just got, oh, it looks like he may have a knee under that undercling. Tricky, Charlie. Charlie, nice and relaxed, firmly in that knee, taking all the time he needs to work those feet. Now looking for that top with the left hand. Looks like he's hoping to stay in the knee and find the match, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Oh, I spoke far too soon. Charlie Barron casually finding his way through via the knee. Earlier in the competition, I did wonder if the knee would work in that position, but I hadn't seen anyone do it yet. It is good to see that Charlie Barron found a way. I do wonder if that's something that the setters anticipated, which I'm sure it is. They seem to anticipate every outcome. Here, Alex Puccio and Zach Galla still working hard with just under 2 minutes in the clock. Zach Galla on the right side once again with the Houdini match. Maya Madare here making her way through. Gains the zone. The left heel. Will she find the high right foot? Opting not to take it. Gains the next hold. Maya Madare now looking at the finish hold. Things are looking good for Maya. Jumps. Holds it, and Maya Madare is going to take it home. There's the match. With a minute to spare, Maya Madare takes home another one on women's 4. Here, Alex Puccio. Oh, looking for that right foot, but that's such a difficult position to be in. You can't exactly see the right foot even. It's sort of a blind, you're just feeling around for it, hoping that you find it while in this extremely precarious position. So, doesn't make it through. Here's Zach Galla with 30 seconds on the clock. Gains the tiny crimp with the left. Right heel. Houdini match is coming. You can almost tell how bad this left foot is. Zach Galla can't make it work in the end with only 10 seconds left in the clock. Both Alex Puccio and Zach Galla call it, and that's going to be the round. Next up here on women's 2, women's 3 is going to be Emma Hunt. On the right side there, we've got Allison Vest from Canada. You'll see many competitors taking their time. They're not in a rush to run out on the floor and jump on the boulder. In semifinals, there is no route preview. This is literally the first time that they see them, so commonly the entire first minute is spent simply brushing, looking at it, planning. So you're on a 5-minute clock, but you can wash away the first minute. Here we at almost 4 minutes, and our climbers are just getting started for the first time right now. Allison Vest looking strong on that initial dyno on women's 4. Gains the zone. The high right foot, looking for the heel now. As she backs up to think her way through. An opts to go left hand. Allison Vest still working it out. And you can tell there how small. If that crimp was any bigger than it is, they would just pull right through it. But often they get up into that bunchy cannonball position. Too much weight is on the right hand, and there's nothing to do but just simply drop off. Here, Chris Kosser from the Republic of South Africa, looking to find his way through men's 4. Emma Hunt here, looking quite solid on her feet. Allison Vest in the background on the right side. There she goes. Finds the dyno again. Gains the zone with the right hand. Hopefully she can find her way through to this left. It's a deep cross off a high feet. Decides not to take the heel. Comes up short again. Emma Hunt jumping back in on the left side. Emma Hunt there working her way up. Solid on her feet again. Gains the zone with the right hand. Emma now looking for the foot match here on the volume on the right side. Trying not to barn door. Stabilizes herself with the left hand. Blindly looking for that right foot. Finds it. Gains the match. Chris Kosser nearly finding the top, but slipping off, but it's okay. Emma Hunt takes one home. Cleaning up boulder number 3. Emma Hunt sends it. Allison Vest still coming up a little bit short. Chris Kosser is still in the fight off camera. A little bit over a minute left on the clock. We'll see what can happen in the remaining minutes and seconds of this round. For the gentlemen, Ross Fulkerson still in first place, yet to be unseated. I may have said for the women. For the men, Ross Fulkerson in first. For the women, Sienna Kopf with 3 tops. Unlikely to be unseated from that first place position as she goes into finals. Here we have Allison Vest with just about 30 seconds left on the clock, looking for this dyno once again. Finds it, not a problem. Looking for that deep cross again. Allison works the feet, does not find it. Here's our score on the left. You can see CC Kopf with 3 tops. Chloe Koskoid, second place. Allison Vest in third place, despite not being able to close out boulder 4. And there goes another round. Zach Gala getting ready to do his first attempt on men's 4. This will be the last boulder for the men in semifinals. You can see there on the scoreboard, Kai Leitner did make his way into finals in a fairly high position. It's by virtue of the zones. Especially that zone on boulder number 3, which no other competitor was able to find. You can see that the zone is a big deal. it's not just about the tops. If you can make your way to a zone that no one else has, it is enough to put you into finals, or in certain cases, in many cases, win the entire competition for you. Here's Zach Gallo looking to find his way through men's 4. Lots of faith in Zach Gallo on this one. I think his strength will really serve him well here as he makes his way towards the top. Zach working out those feet, tries the heel. There we go. Zach Gallo opting for the same beta as everyone else, but pops off. Didn't quite have the position sorted out. Looks like he may have needed to match feet on the right side before matching that undercling. Here, Alex Puccio getting ready to try this dyno again. Swings out, doesn't find it, though she seems close. I have a feeling that if Alex Puccio finds her way through this dyno, she's got quite a good chance of finding the top, given her style, given her incredible level of strength and crimp ability. I do think if she makes her way through that dyno that she will find the top, but only time will tell. Less than 3 minutes on the clock. Alex Puccio trying again. Back to Zach Gallo here, taking his time. Once again, that 5 minutes you have on the clock is not just for climbing time. You've got to consider how much time you need to rest. Many of these boulders are very physical. You try them one time, you got to rest. Alex taking a slightly different approach there. Maybe that dyno's not costing her a lot. Physically, it is the first move. She can afford to try it multiple times consecutively. Zach Gallo back in the action. Certainly hoping for the top here. Finds the right foot, now looks for the right hand, gains it. Now it's in the feet. Yeah, Zach Gallo decides to switch the feet like we discussed. Gets the high feet, now he's got eyes on that finish. Looking for that knee. There we go. Zach Gallo uses the knee to find his way casually to the end of Boulder 4, closing out his round. Hopefully that was enough to take him into finals. Alex Puccio now the only climber out there, squaring up again to find this dyno. I wish I could cheer her on. Alex Puccio. Less than a minute to go. Deciding not to take nearly any rest at all. Hopefully she just has to stick at one time, but it may not be in the cards. Now with 30 seconds left. Alex loading up again. Go. This is certainly a time when I would look for extra hype from the crowd to help amp her up, but in this case, she is all on her own and is not going to find it. 5 seconds left on the clock. That's going to be the round. Only one climber left now, Emma Hunt, in the first place position coming into semifinals. Emma Hunt with only one boulder left to go. Let's hope she makes it happen. Emma Hunt taking her time to read this. Naturally looking for the flash if it's possible. A quick brush. And she's off the ground. Emma Hunt looks for the dyno. Finds her way through. Hopefully she can read this correctly the rest of the way. She's doing well so far with the high right foot. Still thinking as she goes. Oh, Emma decides to skip the zone entirely, which I can't say. Maybe it could work. Crazier things have certainly happened. Lots of time in the clock. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. All eyes, all cameras on Emma Hunt as she closes out this semifinals round, looking to earn her spot in finals. Emma Hunt on again, looking for that dyno. Not a problem. Now let's see which way she decides to go. Will she skip the zone again? It looks like yes. Oh, and it seems so close to working. She's got her hand fully over it. Now with under 3 minutes, we'll see what she decides to do. Emma Hunt really taking her time here. I don't think she's concerned about the dyno. She hasn't missed that yet. She just needs to recover enough to be able to bear down on those crimps and likely do that giant move, skipping the zone. That's what I would guess she's going to try. We'll just have to see. Emma pulling on once again. Finds the dyno once again without issue. Decides to take the zone here. High right foot, finds the left heel. Looks like that heel may have slipped, and as soon as it did, she was right off. Time now dwindling. Perhaps enough time for 2 more attempts. I would love to know what's running through Emma Hunt's mind right now. Which way is she going to go? What's the beta? She's obviously capable of getting this thing done. But with a minute left, the question is, will she? Gains the zone again. High right foot. Goes for the bump. It's not going to be it. Now 45 seconds left in the clock. The pressure building. The only climber left in the room. .20 seconds left on the clock. Looks like Emma is currently sitting in the 8th place position, is going to call the round. And that's going to be it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. Semifinals at the North American Cup Series. I hope you have enjoyed it. I know our climbers have. Here's our final score. Sienna Kopf sitting in 1st place with 3 tops. Chloe Koskoy in 2nd place, Allison Vest in 3rd. It has been quite a round. Next, we'll see the men's score. I think, there we are, Ross Fulkerson sitting in 1st place, Charlie Barron in 2nd, Kai Leitner in 3rd. Kai climbing quite well in this round. At any rate, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back with you at 5 o'clock for the finals round. So y'all go get yourself some lunch, do whatever it is you do when you're at home, and we will see you very shortly.